because it's actually, holy cow, it's 2:30. It's not morning, it's afternoon. Anyway, I'm got supper planned and I'm not working on that right now. I wanted to show you one of our new favorite recipes. And it's really just a side dish, condiment, whatever, that is so tasty and so easy to make yourself. And it's pickled onions, and I'm using red onion. Now, here's a tip I just learned recently, and I cry like a baby when I do onions. I probably shouldn't wave that around, but anyway. I've heard that if you are doing onions, you should leave the root end on and cut lengthwise, not across the middle of the onion, but what they call it, not orbital, something else. Anyway, you're going from the root end to the other end. And they say that when you cut it like that, you are disturbing, there's a word, something in the onion, and you disturb less of them, cutting them lengthways versus across. And that will help reduce the, getting your eyes full of water and crying like a baby and trying to cook and chop and everything with tears running down your face. So, which has been my life. I don't know how many times I wish I had $1 for every time one of the kids come in the kitchen. It's like, Mom, what's wrong? Because I'm a mess. And it's like, I'm just peeling onions. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm leaving the root end on, just cutting off the tip of the other end, which is where the sprout would come through if you let these go too long in the drawer, which I have done. And I'm going to start with 3 onions today, because actually it fills up quite a bit. But anyway, this has become one of our favorite condiments. I like them just on a salad. I like them on my plate as a side dish. We put them on burgers, sandwiches. You could put them in salad. I think they'd be so good in a potato salad or a macaroni salad. And they're so simple and easy. And you can spice it however you want. Most of the recipes I've seen just use salt and pepper. But of course I like to add a little more. Sometimes these skins don't like to come off. And if I take the next layer of onion off, it works so much better. But I hate wasting that layer. Maybe I could, if I got it off the skin, I can use it later. I don't like waste. My husband works hard to put food on the table. I don't like throwing it in the garbage if I can help it. Sometimes it's unavoidable. Like I made salad the other night and there was a fair bit left over. I never know who's going to eat a little or a lot of salad. And so I had made too much and it was okay the next day. But then this was the day after that. And I went to have some last night. I was up in our room doing some stuff on YouTube. And so I made a sandwich and a salad. Took the salad up with full intentions of eating it, and I got looking at it. I thought, you know what, I just can't eat that. So tried to feed it to my husband because he will often eat things that I'm already over with, but he had already just eaten the rest that I'd left in the bowl. So that actually went out, and I would have given it to the worms, but I had already put salad dressing on it, and I wasn't sure that that would be a good thing. But honestly, we don't waste a lot of food here. For one, having so many people helps, but especially when I was working, like I used leftovers all the time for my lunches at work. I think maybe twice in 10 years I bought a meal at the cafeteria. All the other times I would make sure I had enough leftovers to take and reheat. We were lucky to be able to have a microwave and stuff so you could reheat things. I just like knowing what I'm eating. So this time I am taking the root. If I was chopping this onion, I would leave the root end on because it holds that end together and you can slice through and then across. and it doesn't all spread all over. But because I'm slicing these onions all the way through, I took the root end off. And man, I wish I could chop like Gordon Ramsay. And actually, you're probably wondering, why am I doing this when I have slicers and all kinds of things from Pampered Chef? Because I really want to chop and slice like Gordon Ramsay, and the only way I'm going to learn to do it is by doing it. I know, it's a dumb goal, and I'm not ever going to make it. I don't know how many times I've, you know, he does the 3-finger thing where he puts this one out front and the other 2 behind, and I can't get them to stay there when I'm trying to cut. So then I end up, actually cut my nail the other day by mistake. But plus you need really sharp knives to be able to do it like he does, because he just touches it. Yeah, there goes my nose. So it isn't foolproof. It is better, but I'm still feeling the effects of this onion. You know, onions are really good for you, and I know you'll probably laugh at this one, but when my kids get colds and stuff, especially chest colds, I'm always telling them, like, I'll chop some onions, put them in your socks at night when you're sleeping. I put them in I did it one time. I felt like I had, I don't know, my lungs felt like I had smoked a carton of cigarettes in one night. And I sliced up a bunch of onions. I just left them raw, put them in a Ziploc bag, and then put the Ziploc bag on my feet, and then socks over top, so that I wasn't getting onion all over the bed and the blankets. And I'll tell you, I woke up the next morning and there was quite a difference, like an amazing difference. So I'm a firm believer that onions are good for you. I've read other things where if you cut an onion and put it beside your bed, it absorbs bacteria and stuff out of the air if you're sick. Could be old wives' tales, but those old wives, they made do without antibiotics and all the other things. So I'm pretty sure if they did it, it's because it worked, at least to a degree. Anyway, so all that to say, I don't even mind crying over these onions, because maybe in the long run it's helping. So I'm just going to chop these up. I think if your onions were cold, it would be better as well, but I don't like my onions in the fridge. I find it changes the flavor. This is really so simple and so quick. Like, we're almost done. And you just put them in the jar, keep them in the fridge. They are not shelf stable. You don't can them or water bath them or anything like that. They're a raw pickle, but man, are they good. And you can do lots of vegetables. I've seen recipes for pickled celery, carrots, cauliflower, like just about anything that you can slice up uniformly and get it in a jar. You can pickle it. I want to try some pickled jalapenos. Okay, now I need a Kleenex. Ugh. Okay, it's crying time. I feel my nose burning, my eyes burning. I did wash my hands, but I still think I have a little bit on there. So in my jar, I'm just doing a fairly, it's not, well, maybe it is a quart. I wasn't sure if it was or a 3/4 quart. I'm just going to put a couple cloves of garlic. Now, I like these salty. And I got a couple complaints at first when I did them the first time that it was too salty, but as they sit, it absorbs, I don't know, it just seems to blend better, and they were good. So I'm not chopping these, I'm just throwing them in the jar, peeled. And the nice thing is that when the onions are done, you can actually keep using the juice again. I don't know how many times because I've only done it twice, and I did have to add more. But just keep recycling it as long as you can. It's just vinegar mostly. So before I put anything else in, I'm going to put the onions. You just put them in, sliced up. The last time I ran out of red onions, so I mixed the red I had and white. It was fine. The red onion made it all turn pink anyway. And you could probably just do white onions. I just like the color of red. And so that was, I don't know, 3 or 4 red onions. I forget. I'll have to watch the video to see. And it pretty much filled this jar. So in summer, if you're growing onions or you get, onions come on sale like at a ridiculous price compared to typically, just buy up a bunch and pickle a few jars. They'll last a long time in the fridge if you can keep people out of them. Mine don't last that long because certain people have taken a real shine to them. So I've got apple cider vinegar and I'm pouring it in about halfway. And then I'm putting cold water on top. I'm filling it just to below the top, like the line there where the top goes on. And I'm just going to dump this now into a pot. You don't even have to dirty a measuring cup. Now my garlic's already in the jar. But to this brine, and again, you're not going to get measurements, I'm sorry, I just kind of eyeball it. I'm going to put in some cumin seed. So I love cumin seed. Some coriander seed. Just a few. And some peppercorns. I can get the lid off. Hands are slippery. There we go. And just a few, I may even put in, well, no, this isn't for me, so I won't. I would maybe put some red chili flakes. So this is going to go on the stove. I'm going to add the salt over here. I've got this turned on. I'm going to add a heaping teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. And then I'm going to taste it before I put it in the jar because I do like it salty. And the salt does, I don't know, kind of dissipate or mellow a bit. And I'm just going to let this come to a boil. Keep stirring. I'm going to taste it. Okay, so we have it up to boiling. You can see the steam coming off. You don't have to boil it for any specific length of time. It smells so good. So now we're going to pour the juice on the onions and we are done. Don't feel concerned if that vinegar seems really strong because it will soak into the onions. The onions kind of water it down because they have their own juice within themselves that will dilute this. I'll just pour it on. all those yummy seeds in there. And that fit perfectly. It's all in the jar. But I'm also going to get a knife, just stir it around a bit to get some of those seeds and stuff down into the onions, and just to make sure there's no airlock, because you want these onions covered. They're going to shrink up a bit as they kind of soak up some of that heat. And I'm just going to put a tiny bit of water on just to make sure. There, just to make sure they're well covered, well submerged. So we're actually invited out for supper tomorrow night to my sons, and these are for them. I'm going to take these and give it to them as a thank you gift for having us. So there you go, one jar. So now that I've got it all in here, I'm actually not going to tighten this lid. I'm just going to put it on loosely. And I'm going to leave this sit out on the counter till it cools to room temperature, and then put it in the fridge. They taste so good, so easy to make, so easy to keep. You just throw them in the fridge. They'll last, I don't know how long. I can't even tell you, because they don't last long enough around here to be able to go bad. So there's a close-up. All the seeds in the bottom, garlic, and you can shake it up. So this is what it looks like after. These we've had for maybe a week. It was a full jar. See all the seeds in the bottom. So if you're going to reuse the juice, I maybe wouldn't put as many seeds and salt and stuff, because you already got quite a bit in here. Just experiment. But yeah, I probably won't put as much the next time. Anyway, thanks for being in my kitchen. Have a good day. This is another make your own item in our series, and it's just so that we can begin to do things for ourselves quickly, simply. These can take an ordinary meal and just actually jazz it up quite a bit, very easily. You don't need a lot. You can use the juice off of it to make homemade salad dressings or marinades. So there's so many uses. It's very easy and doable for anybody. Buy your onions on sale, make some pickles. If you like these videos and find the content helpful or interesting, or you want to follow along, hit subscribe down below, and when you hit subscribe, there'll be a notification bell that comes up. Just click that as well and select all notifications, and hit the like button. If you like this, let me know if you try it. Love to hear some feedback. Experiment with the spices, herbs, whatever you want to put in it, or make it simple. It's up to you. But I'd love to hear about it if you try it.